you and I were excited about as far as a home run. I mean, there was no doubt the Dynamite download team we were geeked. We were jazzed about seeing MJF and Jericho going against the Varsity Blondes. We had a chance to talk to Griff Garrison, and we really were to me, I was impressed by the work ethic that this kid has. He talked at length about his training regimen and all that he's been willing to put in to try to really build and craft his skill set. I mean, and we saw it on display, SPD. We saw that burst and that athleticism. I mean, this kid was jumping through the ceiling on that stinger splash. His double spear on Jericho and MJF. I mean, we talked to him about how he has gotten a lot of edge comparisons, and some of it obviously is because of his look, but that spear did Edge proud tonight. I think that obviously MJF and Jericho came out on top, and they have to that we have to give them their give the devil their due. MJF and Jericho continue to deliver, but I came away I thought that Griff Garrison and the Varsity Blondes, Brian Pillman Jr., they both looked, I mean, he was like a house on fire during this match.
Oh, yeah, he was.
I mean, right there, you see, I mean, he was pushing, both those kids were pushing the pace. This one was one of those tag matches that really established from an early going, obviously they have history with each other, but I think beyond just that history, it established what the Varsity Blondes can do moving forward as far as their athleticism, their the crowd response that they get. It's easy for the fans to get behind these kids.
It really is. And, we could see that early on in their creation. And now they got the matching gear, which I love the matching gear and the matching trunks. And they really set the pace. They started off strong. I liked how MJF and Griff Garrison really started things off, and he cut the promo to kind of bring it all full circle. And we talked about it on our show. And sure enough, Griff Garrison gave him the hands. MJF got the hands right off the bat. And so he looked very strong at first, and Pillman and Jericho, they shared the ring a little bit together a few weeks ago when it was the Inner Circle versus Best Friends and Friends. And they looked awesome with chemistry. It was fun to watch them, and I was hoping they'd get a one-on-one match down the line, but this tag match definitely had some great chemistry moments. All four guys looked strong. All four guys had some high points. And like you said, the double splash in the corner by Griff and then the double spear was some really impressive stuff. And of course we have an excellent top rope Judas effect on Pillman, and then a clean, smooth as butter lion salt from the GOAT himself, Chris Jericho. So
that smile that he gave, that smile after hitting that perfect lion salt and finishing the match.
I got a photo of that for you.
And just staring dead into the camera and smiling at all the negative people, the critics.
I loved it.
Oh man. That was
pretty much saying F you to haters gonna hate. Look at me now. Look at me now.
Look at that smile. That's a classic. That's going to be a meme for us for a long, long time. I really love that. I love that Jericho, again, he always has that ability. And I think that's why he's such a natural fit with MJF. They always have that ability to find unique, creative, funny ways to rub it in a little bit. They both seem to really find joy in humiliating or proving people wrong.
For sure.
And I felt like this was a great example. Jericho hitting that lion salt was a phenomenal way to end it. And honestly, we've spent most of this review talking about everybody but MJF. But I want to say, like, when we do get to see MJF in the ring, the guy, this is the thing. I love MJF, and I compare him to Britt Baker a lot. Usually because I have to be an advocate for Britt Baker. Usually it's because I'm trying to explain to other people that Britt is more than just talk. And MJF is a perfect example of that. Yeah, he's phenomenal on the mic. We all know that. He's such a natural. He's so smooth. He lives and breathes Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He is that. And at some points, it feels like because his character is so larger than life, his in-ring work almost gets overshadowed sometimes. And tonight was an example. I can't wait to talk about this Dax versus Jungle Boy match, but in a lot of ways, MJF wrestles to me very similar to Dax in that, like, there's a lot of brawling, there's a lot of that kind of posturing. He talks a lot of trash. Always a very smart wrestler, always playing and manipulating the rules, manipulating the fans, always very cognizant of the fact that this is, at the end of the day, this is a show that is meant to pull the fans in and get us on that emotional roller coaster. And I think that MJF does that as well as anybody in the business right now.
Honestly, who's better than him that overall who can walk the walk, talk the talk 24/7. I mean, we got a great endorsement today from him too, calling Dynamite Download the drizzling shits. So we'll take that as, like you said, getting that from MJF is a 5-star review for sure.
No doubt.
So we'll take that any day. And, I agree, man. I want to see more. I hope this tag team of the Inner Circle gets more action just so we can see MJF more in the ring. He's featured a lot on the mic, which he just is a show stealer with the stuff he can say. But when he does get in the ring, he really does wow us, and he's got some great technical skills. He's got some great pacing, some great tactics, and some great body language and things like that. So overall, I mean, kid's got it all. We'll take his endorsement. And what's growing on me, when I first heard it, I wasn't wild about it, but now the second time around, the mixed MJF Judas theme song is growing on me, and you could see Jericho just smiling and just to the singing along. I mean, that probably never gets old, and so that is growing on me. That match for sure is an elite from me. It was just the pacing and the talent in the ring. It's hard to beat, man. That was a great match.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this up. The elite for sure. I mean, again, I want to emphasize, we are so excited about the potential that a Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman have as a tag team. We talked to Griff about the future of this team, and he recognizes they just got started.
Right.
As they continue to build chemistry and as they continue to have matches with teams like this, you're going to see them grow, get more polished. But that said, man, so much love of Griff is because of how young and how high his ceiling is. Sometimes we forget how young MJF is. And I just want to emphasize that MJF himself hasn't even hit 25 years old, guys. This guy has such a high ceiling.
Jeez.
We don't talk about it because he comes off as so polished. He seems like he's an industry veteran, and it's such a great pairing with Jericho. I'm excited to see where it goes. Obviously, I think that having Jericho involved in a tag team with MJF is great because, one, it gives us an opportunity to see Jericho every week in the ring, which is great. But it also kind of allows him to have those moments where he can allow MJF to get the character work, allow MJF to get the rub, allow MJF to get a little more ring time, like you talked about.
Yeah.
And I think AEW is being smart with MJF. You don't want to just overexpose him and throw him into a singles run right now per se, because we saw him lose to Moxley last year.
Mm-hmm.
We were campaigning that he really was ready to take that belt.
We were.
I don't want to see him get into a scenario where he gets another title shot and comes up short. MJF works so well because of his ego, because of his sort of over the top, overinflated sense of self, and that has to be based in reality somewhat.
Right.
And so I think they're doing a really nice job of protecting MJF, protecting future feuds with MJF. Right? You don't want to, like, AEW has a loaded roster, but you want to have people salivating at potential matchups down the road. And they really have us excited for what's to come. The Inner Circle, when that team breaks up, which I don't want that to happen anytime soon.
No, me either.
But when it happens, we've talked about it. MJF was crapping all over Wardlow tonight. We'll talk about it in the Sammy and Wardlow or the Sammy and MJF promo later in the night. But this is a great example of storytelling and, I think, long-term booking. They've done a nice job for both sides of this match.
For sure.